In a small town where the mountains climb, Tiff and the Punisher fight through time against a force that's cold and cruel, trying to save the family's golden rule. In the snowy reach of Alaskan nights, Spanish stands tall for everyone's rights, with the Constitution as her guiding star, fighting for justice no matter how far. They won't let our families break, holding strong for justice's sake. With every word and every stand, they fight for the freedom of this land. CPS tries to sweep them away, but Tiff and the Punisher are here to stay, reading those rights with hearts so pure, standing their ground so fearless and sure. Spanish voice echoes through frozen air. For every family, she's always there, with a heart full of fire and a mind so clear, fights for what's right, so we have no fear. They won't let our families break, holding strong for justice's sake. With every word and every stand, they fight for the freedom of this land.
They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them, but when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, God damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. Give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows, and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stopping.
What is up, Tiff?
Well, I hope we make it through this show. I got two grumpy, sick babies.
You got grumpy over here. I am the worst son in the world. I have been trying to get to my mom's house all day. I have yet to get there. She just got out of surgery yesterday. And I talk to her every few minutes, but I'm supposed to be over there, and it's just one thing after another. It's like I can't every time, and it's all like restricting me to be here, so I can't even I can move and go do something. Drives me nuts. I'm sure she's sitting there cussing away. She's probably the one person watching right now, yelling at me because I was supposed to have been there already. Oh God, I feel terrible. What a terrible son I am. But oh well, I can only do what I can do.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, how are them? How's that flu house doing?
I was sick. My husband was sick. I'm still getting over mine. I took them to the doctor today. They're both on medicine. They're just grumpy.
Yeah, no one likes penicillin when they're little kids, you know. I like it. I like the taste of that stuff. That pink stuff, man. Oh man, that was good.
Oh, that's amoxicillin. That tastes like strawberries or bubble gum.
Yeah, I wish I could find a beverage that tastes like that because it was delicious.
I went to the little one to give him his medicine. He goes,
Can't you get all kinds of medicine now, flavored and stuff? Don't they flavor it for you and everything? Cherry, grape, vanilla, beer, whatever.
Well, his is a steroid. His is prednisone.
Oh Lord! So you're gonna be huger than he already is.
Right. It's supposed to be grape, but I gave him a dose earlier. He spit it on the floor. So I said, "Don't you do that again." So I gave him another dose. He took it, and he saw me coming, and he said,
No, I used to love that stuff. I used to love the flavor of that shit. I loved it.
So anyway, I hope we make it through this live without any interruptions, but I doubt it.
I'll put 50 cents on it. We do. 50 cents says that we don't get interrupted. Anything out of the normal.
Okay, I hope not.
All right, 50 cents. Anybody any takers on that out there? I say it's nothing more than the normal. Little man will come in. He's going to need a little bit of loving. He probably, like you said, he don't feel good. He's going to need a little yah-yah lap. The big man, he'll just try to fight it until he can't. And his eyes are just heavy, and he's trying to ready to go to bed too.
Yeah.
You wait for that 99 dose of penicillin or amoxicillin.
Yeah. So, I I haven't had time to look at anything. I do know that Trump just signed an executive order today for critical race theory. It is banned in all 50 states. And then I saw something about a child support bill, but I didn't have time to read it. Because if he's not climbing on stuff when he's not sick, he's grumpy and crying just because.
Let me see. Herbert sent me a video earlier.
Okay.
Pertaining to Trump and everything that he wanted me to play.
All right. Well, let's see it.
So, do you want to just go ahead and let everybody know what's going on here first? If we do that.
Oh yeah. So, Tiff and the Punisher's new days are going to be Monday through Thursday, and Darren is going to be off on Friday, do his one show on Saturday, and we're both off on Sunday. So Monday through Thursday, same time, but Darren needs to take a break, just like I do. So that's going to be our new hours, and Vinny is going to set everybody up, whoever hosts their shows.
Right.
Fridays and Sundays.
Yep. Benny's the new manager, so he's got this stuff under control.
Yep.
That way we can get some good rest and we can fight these bastards with our A game.
Right.
It's tiresome. I mean, it's tiresome.
And like I tell my own people that I advocate for, if you can't get your mind clear, you are no good to your kids. And the same goes for us as advocates. If we don't keep our minds clear, we are no good to anybody.
That's it. If we can't be good, then we can't be good for anybody else. You know, and it's hard enough. I got the narcolepsy thing going on, and then you put in this. Like, I start from the minute, I start for this stuff from the minute that my eyes open till the second they shut, which could be at any given point in time. But you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. It's just exhausting. And we did 400 something episodes with no time off. You know, like that's a long. You know, I was watching these people talk about podcasting, and they say that if you make it a year every day of doing podcasts, you're like in like an elite level, because it's just it doesn't happen. But we did it, so we got there. But I mean, it's tiresome. I'm tired. I'm very freaking tired.
Well, that's why we didn't do the podcast yesterday, because I got a call from your wife. She said he's knocked out. I said, let him sleep.
He's done.
Let him sleep. I said, and if he's got a problem with it, you tell me, he can call me.
Yeah, and she did. She said, don't yell at me. Don't be pissed at me. You call Tiffany.
Yeah, because I told her to tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I lost my vape pen.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Yeah,
so here's
that's
the
all
video
me.
Let's see what this video is that Herbert sent here.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, here we go. So, I guess it's 9 minutes. So, here we go. There we go. Let's start this over here. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. Hello, here we go. Oh, we did unmute.
Shortly after midnight, telling them, don't come in. This is the latest development on the future of USAID after both President Trump and, maybe more importantly, Elon Musk said it needed to be shut down.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
All right, let's get to CNN's Jennifer Hansler at the State Department for the latest on this. You helped break this news about the email overnight. What have you learned?
Well, John, this is just the latest in a string of developments that indicate that Trump intends to abolish the U.S. Agency for International Development. We had that notice that went out overnight to employees not to show up to headquarters. You heard those comments from Trump. And as you noted, Musk has also demonized the U.S. Agency for International Development. He has played an outsized role on this administration's decisions on federal agencies. And he hosted a Spaces on X overnight to go after the agency, criticizing it for alleged misuse of funding. And he said that Trump had agreed that it needed to be shut down. Take a listen to what else he said.
As we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms. And so at the point at which you don't merely, like if you've got an apple and it's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a bowl of worms, it's hopeless. And USAID is a bowl of worms. Mm-hmm. There is no apple. And when there is no apple, you've just got to basically get rid of the whole thing.
So I should note, John, that he didn't provide a lot of evidence to these claims, but it is the latest signal that U.S. aid is in the administration's target site. Now, Democrats say the abolishment of the agency would not be legal because it was created under statute. It is an independent agency, and they say that Trump cannot just unilaterally choose to fold it under the State Department, which is what his intention is reportedly to be. Now, the State Department has not commented on the developments, but we do also see a number of other troubling signs. Over the weekend, we reported that there was an incident involving DOGE employees from Musk's office, and they went to try to access U.S. aid, and they were blocked, and officials were put on leave for trying to block them from accessing classified information. John?
All right, Jennifer Hanslow for us at the State Department. We'll have much more ahead also on USAID and who depends on that funding in those workers. Thank you so much for your reporting on this.
All right, so I see what the relevance is.
Yes. How much do you think
I think this is what
we
you
can
getting
rip
at here.
out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
I think what Herbert was saying that about is I think that's the path that he's looking at is them going on for THS, right? Like this is what they could possibly do is just say, you know what? Let's scrap this thing. There's so much wasted money. There's so much money that's being scammed and defrauded by the government, by these people. I mean, it's asinine. You know, in Vinny's case, Vinny found out that his case was, back in September, they had seized reunification efforts. Now, according to the title funding for 4E, it states that once reunification is off the table, you get no more money. So I told Vinny to FOIA them. See when they stop doing the Title 4E funds for his kids. And I'll bet you we're going to find out that
they didn't.
Right. And I'll bet you that we're all going to find this out. That they never.
And I do think that Elon is going to go after the federal money for child support and CPS.
I think the whole 4D block is in need of some crushing. You know, like they have the different parts to it. You know, the child sports, the 4D, what is it? A, B, C, D, E. D and E, yeah. 4D and E, right? D is the child sport, and then E is for the Department of Human Services for CPS and stuff. So I think we're going to find that whole thing needs to be just smashed.
When a federal judge blocked that executive order, they didn't give you the real thing because I read the order. She did not block the whole executive order. She said Donald Trump cannot sign an executive order blocking anything or any money that Congress has allocated. Right. She could only block what the federal government is, not what Congress allocated for. So when they tell the news, oh, they blocked that executive order. No, they only blocked partial because they can't. They can't override an executive order. It's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these, but I mean, they need to Imagine if they go to work on CPS like they just did with that USAID, and I bet you it would be easy to. And this is why we have our thing coming up for our Trump, for our message for Trump for Valentine's Day. It's he needs to know that this is what's going on. That's why we need facts, people. We need your stories. We need your help on this day so we can record your messages to the president so we can get this stuff to him so they can realize how awful they are to these children, first of all. Secondly, how terrible it is for the parents to have this happen to them. Thirdly, for the family unit itself and how it's being destroyed. And that's the cornerstone of what our country is built off of, really, is what it's supposed to be about, is the love for your family and all of that, and that's completely gone from this country. So and then obviously the waste of the money that they're spending is just asinine. And for what? So they can be kidnappers for real? Like that's really what this is. I mean, we all know it. We don't say it all the time, but that's the truth. That's what this is. What they're kidnapping are freaking kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're trafficking them. If you look up the definitions of trafficking and slavery and all that stuff, what happens with these kids? It's all money incentivized, right? It's all about the dollars. So how is that not trafficking? How is that not slavery? How is that not any of these things by definition? It is. It absolutely is. They want to hide behind it and say, oh, it's in the best interest of the child. Some rigmarole act, some decision that they've decided to come up with that has nothing to do with the well-being or the best interest of the child at all. As a matter of fact, doesn't even examine what the best interest of the child is. Do you know that a portion of the best interest of the child is of the judge's own opinion that they're allowed to use for that?
Well, just like the tender years, how they got away from the tender years, stating that the child for the first X amount of years needs to be with the mom and this, that, and the third. They got rid of it and brought in the best interest of a child, and now we need to get rid of that because the best interest of a child is to be with family.
Yep. But you're not gonna find a whole lot of that right now in this country.
Well, the tide is turning. I think there's another state. I don't want to say the state because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That has started a parental rights bill. Mm-hmm. It mimics the federal one. And I watch for those things because that just tells me that the states are getting in line with the federal government because they already know what's coming down the pipeline.
Right. Yep. Let's see.
Is Tammy the only one on tonight? I love when she says, give me liberty or give me death, Patrick Henry.
Yeah, she's great. See, they're turning this stuff all around on him with the stuff that he's doing so far. In all his first few days here. It's just absolutely the guy's coming in to do what he said he was going to do. And you know what? People just deal with it and watch what's happening. Stop trying to pick it apart, because what you don't understand is that these media outlets will just report a fraction of what's going on. So they may, they're cutting the school lunch programs. But what they're not going to tell you is that there's another supplement program that's coming in right behind it that's going to be better for the kid. They're just going to tell you the upfront one was being canceled out. Trump ain't starving kids. He's not allowing kids to be thrown by the wayside. None of that stuff is happening.
But here's the thing. 90% of this country voted for Donald Trump. He said exactly what his agenda was. He said how fast it was going to happen. And now everybody that didn't believe him is like, oh my God, I really didn't think that he was going to. I have this one dude that keeps hitting me in my inbox about Donald Trump. This is what you voted for. Yes, this is what I voted for. Mm-hmm. One day I asked him how old he was. I'm like, how old are you? You're older than me. Why are you in my inbox?
Oh, man.
He said, promises made, promises kept. That's what he said.
Yeah, and he did it his first round of elections, so he's going to do it again this time.
Well, this time he came in. He came in like a jackhammer. I mean,
yeah.
I think he's done more for this country in 2 weeks than the whole Biden administration did in 4 years.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah. Probably just yesterday when no one was even working, he did more than the Biden place did.
Yeah.
I'm reading some of these executive orders, like this one here, the restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. The executive order establishes policies to prevent government interference in expressing constitutionally protected speech. It responds to concerns about prior governmental overreach, particularly through influence on social media companies, to suppress speech. The order outlines measures to address past misconduct and prevent future violations.
That's YouTube too. YouTube, every outlet.
Yep. This was the one about racial diversity, impact the provision of Social Security. I'm trying to find. I know that I thought that there was one about child things already.
I don't know. I'm checking now too because I haven't. It's just been crazy here since Thursday. Let's see. This ain't even the right.
Since the U.S. Army to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the U.S. agencies, grant the law and the functions of Director of the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. Do any of you guys know anything out there about these things, the Trump executive orders? Does anybody know any? Putting people over fish, stopping radical environmentalism is to provide water to South Carolina. Restoring the death penalty and protecting public safety.
I think that one is if anyone kills a police officer or a child, they automatically are getting the death penalty. Because it's really hard to get the death penalty in federal cases. It's easier in the states that have the death penalty, like Virginia.
You guys don't. It's crazy. Your court system down there is nuts, huh?
We're the rocket docket. And we
yeah.
execute people all the time here in Virginia.
Lights are constantly dimming every night.
Well, you know what that means. He expanding educational freedom and opportunities for families. That one was signed on the 29th.
So you went to the dump. You went to the dump. All right. So you went perfect. All right. So
it says the administration is to support families in choosing and directing the upbringing and education of their children. And then it's got stuff in there for military families, Indian education.
Yeah, so Mom, I'll be over after the show.
I guess there was a demonstration or whatever yesterday in Virginia because our law to pass that if anyone under the age of 18 cannot have any gender care, can't have whatever.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's great.
So there was a whole bunch of people out at the Capitol yesterday. It was Sunday. I don't know why they were there Sunday protesting. I don't know. But that too is a executive order protecting children from chemical and surgical manipulation.
Let's see. U.S. Attorney General, Secretary, Homeland Security, and Director of National Intelligence shall identify countries that warrant suspicion of admission from its nationals and reevaluate immigration programs. I just see this for the safety and security of North American people. So yeah, it was definitely this thing. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, the guy's cranking away. I mean, isn't this a record here? The amount of executive orders that he has signed in his first 2 weeks or whatever.
They said he signed over 300.
Oh wow! Holy smokes!
They're just not all up here yet.
Right.
300 executive orders, and he's one executive order wiped out 100 executive orders of Biden's.
Oh wow, that's pretty amazing. The money
Just
saved.
one executive order wiped out 100 of Joe Biden's administration.
Yeah, the money he just saved alone on paper, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. I mean, good things are coming. I just wish they'd get here faster because I'm just feeling like we're running up against the wall lately, you know?
Well, the wheels of justice turn very slow.
Not the wheel of arresting doesn't, though.
It's coming, but listen, everything comes in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our time is now.
It is. Sure is. This is where we're gonna break it.
This is where we're gonna break it. It might take a few, but we're gonna break it. We're gonna penetrate that wall. It's already got cracks.
Right? We just gotta get into it. That's all. Figure it out.
Right. It's just spidering right now. You ever seen a windshield spider?
Oh yes. Oh yes, I have.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going on right now.
Right. It's not gonna be long before everybody's pointing fingers and they're fighting back and forth because there's no unity and there's no. Listen, these groups, these like the DHS and CPS groups, they're not solid together. Think about what they do. They're dismantling these families, taking apart the most precious thing that we have. You think when Trump starts shutting them down that they're not going to all start screaming like fairies and screaming and whistleblowing and telling on each other? No one's going to stand up for each other. It's going to be a madhouse. These people are going to reap what they sow. And that's going to be it. That's what they're going to, they're all just, oh, this person, it's not my fault. And all this crap just going to come right to a head.
Yeah.
I hope he gets rid of every caseworker. I hope he gets rid of every one of these people all the way around.
I do too. And I hope that the prosecutor, the Department of Justice, doesn't give out any immunity.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think he can because of the situations that we've been investigating. I don't think that their immunity is going to kind of go bloop, 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 believe from what I've read and what I've been looking at because they do so much wrong. I mean, if we follow this by the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and everything, they're way out of their league. Which, if you don't follow the Constitution and make that the supreme law of the land and follow its rules and guidelines and so on, doesn't that not take away your immunity as a judge?
It sure does. It's a crime. And
Right.
I did see one executive order that he gave, or he said the Department of Justice shall now
Yeah.
look into every inquiry, investigate everything about constitutional and civil rights because it is a violation of the law. I'll have to find that executive order, but it's in one of those 14 pages.
Yeah.
And then Kash Patel said if he's put in as the FBI director, his exact words, and he better not go back on them because I saved them clips. He is all about the Constitution, and that is where it needs to go back to.
Yep. Well, he's already did he not restore it back to the we were the Republic right before, or we were a Republic before. What did Trump restore it back to?
Say it again, King is in here.
What did Trump restore our country back to? He restored us back to
the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Right, but he restored us instead of being the corporation, as they call the United States. Now it's reverted back to the United States of America, right? Did he revert it back to that so it's no longer the corporation?
He said it's supposed to be on merit and some other word. Not liberty. Something else. It's in that order. And he said this is the golden age, so.
Oh, yeah. I thought that's when you're 50.
Huh. Let me tell you something. Once you hit 50, everything just goes downhill from there.
I don't want to hear it, Tiff. Don't want to hear it.
I'm
It's right
telling
around the corner.
you.
Jesus almighty, walking's getting to be hard nowadays, you know? But
My son, he's let's see, what years? He's gonna be 34. He's like, oh my god, I feel like I'm 80. I said, boy, sit down and shut the hell up.
whoa, he has the same birthday as me, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so easy on him. We stick together as July 3rds.
I understand that, and I'm July 2nd, but you're not going to sit up here as a 34-year-old man and tell me that you feel like you're 80 when I'm 50 and feel like I'm 70.
Hey, it's hard on July 3rd. It's hard. Take it easy on him. I know. I'm lawsuit right with him. July 2nd's never understood.
Oh, whatever.
Anyway, you know, do you remember the lady that used to be? I gotta kind of be cautious here, but the woman that used to be on my show from the place up north, Josie. You remember her? She used to be on the well, she was a big time fighter, and she got gagged and everything up in the 51 state, the 51st state they keep calling it now. They are trying to come back and get her granddaughter again, but they've gagged her, and then they're trying to put her back in jail. It's crazy. There's a huge outcry on it on her TikTok and everything to help her out.
Why? Because she's speaking out?
Yeah, they completely gagged her, and because of her TikToks and all of that stuff. And the other day, they showed up with a bunch of fraudulent paperwork to take her in jail. And then then the emergency meeting to her, well, it's DGB up there, but it's CPS. I'm looking in. I'm trying to find some Canadian law books, you know, like their policies and procedures or something. So we look at that stuff for her, see if we can help her out. 'Cause she's a fighter amongst fighters, but they're literally trying to arrest her so that she can't fight for her daughter to keep her grandbaby. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Well, I don't know their laws over there.
I know, but I'm just telling you, it ain't good.
Don't they have a constitution?
Not like ours. I don't think they have one, to be honest. But like she said, they're not like ours anyway. They don't have half the good rights that we have.
Then why would anybody want to live there? Hold on, I'm gonna put myself on mute real quick. Hold on.
Yeah. I mean, that's just. I mean, that's. I don't know. When you're born there, that's where you're from. I guess you don't. I mean, why don't people still live in Africa when we have cities and things here? Why do they still live in the Peaches? Get down right there. Why do we still do that? They live in those third world countries when we have all of these nice places.
They do have a constitution.
They do?
Yeah, Canadian Constitution is superior law of Canada. It's made up of several documents, including the Constitution Act, 1876, 1867, and the Constitutional Act of 1982. The Constitution outlines the government, the rights of the citizens, and how the law is made and changed. Now, I'm going to try and pull up their Constitution because it doesn't tell me what it is. Constitutional document. Well, damn sure don't say we the people. I can tell you that.
No, I sure don't, does it? You too.
Well, I might have to read this because I'm going to tell you, she's absolutely right. It is nothing like our Constitution. Nothing. Oh my, it doesn't even say anything about citizens. I'm just like scrolling through it. Nothing. Oh my.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Oh, Kitty, come on. Get down. No, Kitty. Peaches, come on.
My God, their constitution is 115 pages long.
Yeah, you probably can't read any of it.
I can't, and I'm gonna have to print it out.
Oh, you have to print it out in French.
No, it's in American.
All right, English.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, English.
It's in American. I read it as American.
Oh my God, did I tell you what kind of weekend I've had?
Yeah, you got two sick people sitting here talking back and forth about Trump's executive orders.
Yeah, right.
We're talking
There it
in
is.
American.
Oh, hold on. 115 pages.
Good Lord, that looks like American too.
It is in French though. It's in French and English.
In American? Yes.
Yeah, American. All right, so I'm gonna add this to my notes. I'll read that tomorrow after I print it.
After you print it, that. Let's see. I'm trying to look through here. You know what? You guys should make sure you check out Good Life Coaching by Danielle and Wellness Coach in Cyprus. Oh, that's nice.
You need to watch the Wellness Coach.
Yeah, she's on tonight with us. Dr. Danielle Griffin, I believe, on the CPS Victims on Injustice show tonight. I believe that she's on with us. Oh, look at this. Herbert sent me this one too. Let's take a look at this one.
Okay.
This one is the rules every parent needs to know. It says what CPS can and cannot do. Please watch and listen to this video. It may be very helpful to you. How to deal with CPS, he says. Or do you want to hear the CPS accused of rushing judgment newscast one? Which one? Let's
do both of them.
All right, let's do both. Let's see here.
Every day, child protection workers across Minnesota are faced with investigating reports of abuse and the difficult job of balancing the need to protect children with the hope of keeping families together. But tonight, a case in which child protection is accused of needlessly ripping a family apart. Here's Lauren Lemanchek with a KARE 11 investigation.
And they're like, we're here to get Dontel, and I'm like, why? They ruined my life. This could happen to anybody.
From the very start, Dontel faced serious challenges.
I was lucky enough that when he was born, he did survive.
Essie Pashong says doctors told her that her son's face and chest hadn't developed normally, narrowing his airways.
Dontel had a lot of respiratory problems, a lot of problems breathing.
Over time, these medical records show he was prescribed supplemental oxygen at home, along with a special device for sleep apnea. But by the time he was 10, his mother says Dontel was still having breathing problems. Sometimes so exhausted, his doctors were considering surgery to open up his airways.
What were the options that they laid out on the table for you?
They explained they would cut Dontel from ear to ear, his skull, pull it forward. He would wear a fixator, and we would turn it each day to pull the front of his face out.
Instead of that, the family chose a less complicated surgery.
In the daytime, I keep it capped, and then in the night, I just twist it off.
A tracheostomy, or trach for short. A small tube in his neck so air can bypass the blockage, especially at night. Dontel says it changed his life.
It was breathtaking to me. It was so good.
For the first time, he says he was energized after getting a good night's sleep.
He was able to have friendships. He became Mr. Popular. He started playing sports. He played lacrosse and, just really able to enjoy life.
And to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of his surgery, a vacation to Washington, D.C.
You wanted to celebrate your new life, that's about it. Yeah, trach anniversary trip.
They never imagined this report to Child Protection was about to turn their lives upside down. It claimed Dontel was the victim of medical child abuse, accusing his mother of repeatedly misrepresenting his medical conditions, subjecting him to multiple medical procedures which were not warranted, including the trach. Based on that report, Hennepin County Child Protection got this court order to seize the boy.
They were like, we're taking him.
Dontel was ripped away from his family.
I couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't see my mom.
Eventually, they were allowed supervised visits a few hours a week, but Dontel spent 7 months in foster care.
It was hard.
All based on the word of one doctor.
That is correct.
A doctor who got a tip from a nurse, but never even saw Dontel. The doctor's name, Alice Swenson. According to this website, a specialist in child abuse at children's hospitals and clinics of Minnesota.
I had a perfect life and they ruined it.
In the end, there was a court-ordered test done by an independent specialist who found that Dontel's trach was needed, calling it the most viable choice to continue treatment. So the child protection case was dismissed, but only after a court fight took more than a year. It raises the question, what did child protection do to verify those initial claims of medical abuse before ripping a family apart? The answer? Very little. These documents show child protection told a judge that Dontel's mom had homeschooled him and insisted on keeping him on supplemental oxygen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dr. Swenson's report claimed he'd been tethered to external oxygen needlessly his entire life, dependent, she said, on a wheelchair.
Was that true?
That was not true.
Just look at these report cards. They show Dontel was attending Blue Heron grade school. Here he is in class photos, without oxygen or a wheelchair.
His 5th grade teacher, could easily vouch that wasn't on oxygen and he wasn't in a wheelchair.
Remember Dr. Swenson, who filed the original abuse report? She works here at Children's Hospital.
Dontel hadn't visited Children's Hospital at this point for like 5 or 6 years.
Records show Dontel's surgery had been done at a different hospital, Gillette Children's Specialty Healthcare. So did Child Protection check with those doctors before seizing Dontel? Not according to this court transcript. Did you or anybody from CPS talk to any of the doctors that had actually treated Dontel at Gillette Children's? Under oath, the child protection worker answered, no. And neither did Dr. Swenson.
And if you go by what she says, it sounds horrible.
So how did Dr. Swenson get involved? Records show she got a tip from one of Dontel's former nurses and started reviewing medical records. The old ones from Children's, but not all of the new ones from Gillette. She didn't even speak to Dontel's longtime pediatrician. According to this transcript, he testified the trach was, quote, the best thing that had happened to Dontel, leaving a young boy to wonder, why was he taken from his family in the first place?
I have so much bad emotions towards them because they ruined my life.
I would say that these are tough jobs and that this is tough work.
Hennepin County's Jennifer DeCubelis told us Child Protection expects workers to contact whomever can give them the best information. But they declined to discuss the details of Dontel's case, except to say a judge okayed his removal.
You're referencing a case where there was a court approval to remove a child.
Dr. Swenson declined an interview. In an email, Children's Hospital told us she and other physicians are mandated reporters, required by law to immediately report if they have reason to believe there's been abuse or neglect. They said it's Child Protection's job to consider information from other sources and determine what's in the best interest of the child. But Dontel and his mom claim Hennepin County Child Protection rushed to judgment. And in this lawsuit, they blame Dr. Alice Swenson for filing a false report without proper investigation. And in doing so, separated a child from his mom.
To protect children, that's her job, and she actually became the abuser.
A federal judge here in Minnesota dismissed the family suit, saying the state courts had already heard medical testimony and found Dr. Swenson to be credible. But now the family has taken the case to the U.S. Court of Appeals. Since his ordeal, Dontel and his mom have moved to California. Dontel says he's much happier now, but the family is speaking out to protect other families from what they call a broken child protection system. Julie?
I can't imagine the frustration of having to wait 7 months before the issue is resolved. And I think everyone knows that there is a problem in child protection with overloaded caseworkers, for sure. This is still a particularly
No.
frustrating case.
That's right. They've been trying to get those caseloads down, and they have had some success over the last few years. We're actually going to have a follow-up on that tomorrow, looking at the progress that they've made.
All right. Thanks so much, Lauren.
All right. Thoughts?
Oh, they're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. And that bitch needs to be fired. Good thing it wasn't my son, because her ass would have been gone the next day like I did Nurse Lexi here in Winchester.
Yeah. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Sorry.
Whoa. That's about as scary as the cat falling into my head earlier.
Yeah, the cat just ran by.
Oh, yes. I think Herbert put it in the chat. All right, cool. Thank you. Well, thank you, Herbert, for that video. That was good. We do have one more that you sent us. And if you want to give me a throw down.
Go ahead.
All right. I'll show this one down too, Herbert. This one's, well, I'll let you explain it. It's just much easier that way. Let's see. I think Tiffany got me sick through the phone call. I think I got your bug, Tiff, through the phone. I told you that if you're going to show up, you're going to get me sick.
And it's going around. It's going around.
Yeah, you sent it right to my, right to me, and look at me now. Look at me now. Let's see here. Where is it, Herbert? Right here. Here it is.
Did you find the video?
Oh, yeah, it's not on here, huh? Oh, shoot. I'm watching it right here. You're not watching it?
Oh.
I'm sitting there watching it away. My bad. All right, sorry about that.
So
No,
let's carry on
through
through this list. So we know that those aren't the same thing. You're doing the best you can, and times are tough, and sometimes that has some seriously unintended consequences. So just so you know, when Child Protective Services comes knocking, it can be a terrifying experience even if you've done nothing wrong. I know this firsthand because I've had that visit happen a couple of times. And you can take comfort in knowing that 80% of reports are deemed unfounded. That means they don't really go anywhere. Knowing your rights is essential to protecting your family. You need to know what they can do, what they can't do, and what you can do as well. Now, I'm not a lawyer or a social worker, but I have researched this topic extensively. I've had many personal interactions with CPS. I've consulted with legal and social worker professionals, etc. So let's carry on through this list. So what CPS can do? It's important to understand what they can and can't do, but I think we're going to start with what they can do. And I know it's normal and natural to feel defensive and shaken when they show up at the door. It means that someone made a serious accusation about you or your child. That's distressing, but you need to take a deep breath and think critically about what is happening. All right.
Yep.
So let's start with what they can do. They can investigate all reports. They can investigate any report of potential child abuse or neglect, even if it seems unlikely and even if it turns out to be false. CPS can show up unannounced. They may visit your home without prior notice as part of their investigation. CPS can add new concerns to the allegations. So if they're investigating and they find new issues, they can incorporate those new issues into the case, even if they aren't relevant to what started the original investigation. CPS can interview your child without your consent. They can talk to your child privately and ask detailed questions, even about topics that seem unrelated to the original report. They may photograph your child as part of their investigation. And they can do that without your consent. CPS can interview others. They can speak to teachers, family members, or anyone else that may have information about the case. CPS can use your statements. They can use anything that you say as part of their investigation. CPS can collaborate with other agencies. They can work with law enforcement, medical providers, and other organizations. CPS can demand that you follow a plan. This is one that we get asked about all of the time. CPS can create a safety or a service plan with steps that you need to take, such as attending parenting classes, undergoing drug testing, or seeking counseling. They can do this even without a court order, and if you don't comply, they can report that non-compliance to the court. CPS can remove children from your home. They can only do this if they have a court order or if the child is in imminent danger. Imminent danger usually includes the risk of physical harm, sexual abuse, neglect, or other serious threats. CPS can ask the court to terminate your parental rights. This is a lengthy process. It is not something that happens overnight, and it usually is considered only as a last resort. It requires court involvement and can take 18 months or longer for this to happen. CPS can offer financial assistance. This is one that a lot of people don't know, but CPS may have access to special funds or assistance programs that can help your family meet immediate needs or get the things that you need. This is one of the upsides. I know that it's frustrating that so many people confuse poverty and neglect, but it can unlock extra assistance programs for you. In other videos on the main channel, I talk about how CPS actually contributed $500 to our insane $3,364 power bill that we had once. You can go check out that other video for more information on that, though. Now, of course, there are potentially big consequences here. It's important to understand that if a CPS investigation finds evidence supporting the allegations, it can have long-lasting consequences, and those consequences can go far beyond the scope of what you might expect. This could even include impacts on your future employment. I once knew a woman who lived through this. Years before I met this person, when she was very much younger, she had a child removed from her care by CPS. By the time I met her, she'd made a lot of improvements to her life. She was raising 2 new wonderful little girls, but she was still unable to work at child care centers because of her history with CPS, and that showed up in her background check and kept her from getting that work. So just so you know, the consequences can be big and they can go beyond what you might expect. But now let's talk about what CPS can't do. The first time I was contacted by a CPS caseworker, I had no idea what the rules were. I had no idea what their limits were. I had no idea what they could do. I assumed that they had all the power and authority that they claimed to have, but I was wrong. I have since learned some very valuable lessons about how this works, and I think it's really important that you know your rights so that you know how to advocate for yourself and your family. So let's talk about some things that CPS cannot do. CPS cannot tell you who made the report. Reporters of suspected child abuse or neglect remain confidential, although they may be called as witnesses in court if your case gets that far. That being said, I've been able to deduce who's called on me in most cases just because these circumstances made it pretty clear what was going on. CPS cannot force their way into your home without a warrant. You have the right to refuse entry unless they have a warrant or unless they witness an imminent threat to your child. CPS cannot force you to take a drug test without a court order. If you refuse to take one at their request, they must obtain a court order to compel that drug test. CPS cannot offer you legal advice, and they cannot arrest you. They are not lawyers and they are not law enforcement. However, they can contact police if they suspect criminal activity, and if they contact the police can arrest you. CPS cannot make final custody decisions. They can petition the court to make certain changes and they can make suggestions to the court, but ultimately the decisions rest with the judge. So please note that some of these specifics may vary slightly by state, but extensive research and consultations with different professionals have shown that these limits generally apply nationwide. So with all of that said, what can you do? Now that you understand what CPS can and cannot do, you might be wondering what you can do about it. After all, the investigation can feel very overwhelming, and it can be hard to know how to stand up for your rights in a responsible way. Ultimately, you can take comfort in the fact that the vast majority of reports, over 80% of all reports, are deemed unfounded. That means they don't go anywhere. That means they conclude that the investigation or the complaint didn't have a foundation. There was nothing to it. And I find that very comforting. I'm sure you do as well, because that means that in most cases, it's just going to blow over. But in the meantime, there are some things you can do. The first and most important one is that you can demand to know the specific accusations against you. You have the right to know what was reported. And don't be afraid to escalate to a supervisor if the caseworker doesn't want to give you that information. I had that happen once. Somebody came out to my house, they wanted to investigate my family, and she would not tell me why. I later found out that one of our neighbors had called in and said something about animal feces in the house, but we didn't even own any pets. So it was pretty clear right off the bat that that was not real. But I had to, after she left, I had to call her supervisor and really push for that information because nobody wanted to tell me what was going on there. So don't be afraid to escalate to a supervisor. You have the right to know what you were accused of. So going on with what you can do, you can insist on an interpreter if you are more comfortable in another language. Many, many documents from social service agencies state that you should never let your child act as an interpreter for you. That's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. It's not really fair. So you have the right to refuse to let your child interpret for you, and you have the right to have a different interpreter involved. You need to make sure that you exercise that right. You have the right to refuse entry into your home. This prevents them from gathering evidence, adding new things to the complaint, or judging you based on a quick glance that might be interpreted. You also have the right to seek legal counsel. An attorney can protect your interests and guide you through the complex legal process. If you can't afford an attorney, there are legal aid agencies that may be able to assist you. We have a list of legal aid providers at lowincomerelief.com/legal-aid. And of course, you have the right to refuse to answer questions. I know it can feel awkward, but you don't have to justify your refusal. No is a complete sentence. You also have the right to pursue placement instead of removal if it comes to that. If your child is removed from your care, you can ask the court to place your child with a trusted family member or a friend during the investigation. And of course, you have the right to attend all court hearings about your case. You can also bring your attorney. Your presence ensures that your voice is heard in decisions that will affect your family. And if it comes to that point, it is very important that you do attend those hearings. Now, of course, like I said, I am not a lawyer. I am not a social worker. I'm just a researcher who spent a lot of time looking into this, and I've talked to a lot of people and been through it a few times. But it's always best if you can speak to a lawyer about your unique case. If you would like to consult with an attorney, there are a few ways that you can get help. You can visit a free legal aid clinic. We have a list of those around the United States at lowincomerelief.com/legal-aid. You can also visit an attorney with a free consultation. Many family law attorneys provide free 30-minute consultations. I've done this. I found it very helpful. So that's something that you may want to consider. You can also ask a lawyer online. If you have a specific legal question, our sponsor Just Answer may be able to help you get those answers for less than you would pay going to see an attorney in town. So you can ask their legal experts questions anytime, day or night, for a very low cost. You can visit lirlinks.com/justanswer to get started with that. And of course, for more ways to get help, visit lowincomerelief.com or check out our other videos.
Well, Tiff, what'd you think about that? Anything new there that you heard?
No, but she said one that really struck a nerve. It was the beginning. CPS cannot just talk to your children. Absolutely not. Especially if you have a contract with wherever they're at. No. And let them take some naked pictures of my grandsons. I tell you what,
Yeah.
I will tear this town apart.
Yep.
Be that tsunami coming through here.
Do you know what? What can a male caseworker take a picture of a 4-year-old girl child, the nude pictures for to overlook them, do like a like a looking over the kid?
Did you say male?
I did say male.
No.
I didn't think
Was
so.
there a female in the room?
Negative.
That sounds like I don't want to get us a ding.
That sounds bad.
It's inappropriate. No. And 4?
4 years old.
No. No. In fact, a police officer, a male police officer, is not even supposed to pat down a female, an adult female.
I know. But they CPS put a 4-year-old girl there to be examined by a CPS worker, and he was a male. It's right in their paperwork.
Well, if that doesn't say explicit and inappropriate to me, nothing does.
Yep.
Oh no. Let me tell you, the day anything like that happens to one of my grandkids, we will be doing this podcast from Winchester Regional Jail. Okay, just so you know.
All right, that's fine. I won't be at that jail, but I'll be in a different
one. Will
be. But, yeah, I know you will be. I'm saying I wouldn't be because we're in the same state. So we'll make sure of that. Let me ask you this: what do you think about the right to face your accuser?
I've always said that.
Because, I mean, they're giving you the death penalty here. You should be able to freaking face your accuser and answer to this stuff the way that you should be answering to it.
And there is a way to find out. See, I don't like when people don't give all the information. All you have to do is go to circuit court and petition that circuit court to unseal the complaint. The person's name is in that complaint because they have to give their name, their phone number, and their address. Whether it's all real or bogus, they have to give that information out.
Do they really? Well, we're going to start pushing for that a little bit more too, because I think people need the right to face their accuser. But I know we're over time. I know the children's are ready for some yah-yah bedtime. I know I'm ready for a quick nap before the 10 o'clock show because I'm just beat up from you getting me sick. Because I know that this comes from you. I was fine. I haven't been around anybody. Mom, I'll be over here in a minute. I promise you. I will be right over there. I'm going to go get you your avocado and bananas. So I will be right there. But you got anything else, Tiff?
No, I'm going to bed.
All right, everybody. Stay well. Stay healthy. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, February 14th, we got Valentine's.
No, Monday through Thursday, except for the 14th.
Yes, except for the 14th. All right, perfect. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.
Feel better.
If I can make this thing play. Play music, play. It wants to play. Oh, there it goes. All right. That's not even the right song. God dang it. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
I'm so tired of living scared. I have to do something for me. I can't take the pressure, but I have to. No one will live my life for me. I need to know I'm better than this. That no one person who wronged me broke me. I was once a strong man, taking on everything in my path. When you took my daughter, you broke all I had. With that one action, you got my reaction. I threw my hands in the air, you quit. I try to pull myself together every day. I can't begin to rebuild because I'm so lost. I don't know how to get back the feeling, the one they stole that day. I was viewed as the protector, the strong and wise man to take control. I was put on a pedestal every day. When they took my daughter, they took all that away. I was the rock for my family. I made their dreams into reality. It was always up to me. Now my dreams are nightmares and I can't wake up. My wife laughs at me in silence. In front of her, I went from a man to nothing. She feels bad for me and hates who I become. I am so weak right now, she won't leave. In an epitome to her, no one she wants to be with, I don't blame her. Why won't she run away? That's what I'm waiting for, to come home to an empty house with an open door. I am waiting for this. I am not what she thought I was. I couldn't stop this from happening. I couldn't keep my family safe. All I could do is watch it go away. I don't wait for tomorrow. I don't know what to do. I hurt so much inside. I'm sorry I didn't stand up that day. There's nothing worse than watching the ones who love you lose faith. They start to distance from you and then thoughts of all of those I've disappointed. Please God, help me rewrite this story. I need your help, I need to be a man. Make me what I used to be, the one I see I can't stand. If I can reach to the sky and get a victory, all that'll be is me all alone. So please Lord, give me the power, the strength I need to be what I need to be, to win it all back. Giant steps of confidence, a smile that shows true happiness. God, it has to be me or you.